The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think he missed the complete that. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
What does LionHeart mean? They line up 33 strong in his name. The drivers will compete on the most grueling road and oval tracks iRacing has to offer. And they all strive for one goal: to become champion. We'll witness which driver can push their car to the limit and find victory lane. You're watching the premier American Open Wheel Series on iRacing. The LionHeart IndyCar Series starts now.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Jewel in the Desert. As she's known around here, it's PIR for round 14 of 18 on the season. The virtual Phoenix International Raceway is where we are tonight as we get set to take on the unacceptable 125. GSRC's Joe Pete getting the second part of tonight's doubleheader rocket. Our job to keep things rolling as we welcome you into the virtual Global Sim Racing Channel broadcast tower. My name, Evan Pasoko, alongside with Sean Ambrose, topside, our director, Amjad Yamid, in the production hauler with the assistance from Dougie Beard on the cameras to bring you tonight's pictures. And Sean, Phoenix, exciting because one, well, we're going IndyCar racing here in 2016. We get to take a swing at it first, though, with the LionHeart IndyCar Series round 14 of 18 in the Season 3 campaign for the biggest and premier American Open Wheel Championship on the sim. And this might be interesting. There's a lot of unknowns in the Phoenix. It's a bull ring type of a racetrack at just 1 mile in length. This is the newer configuration of the Phoenix International Raceway on this sim. And we're ready to do 125 laps of battles for 125 miles start to finish tonight.
Real tricky 1 mile track, Evan. Good evening, everyone. 125 miles tonight. 5 laps, 1 mile, and not a lot of room to get around out there, folks, except when you get into those turns with that dog leg. It really spreads out, and there are a lot of lines to go through. I'm hearing you want to be up near the wall if you want to take care of the tires, and you want to have a good run, and there's a lot of speed to be found up there. So we'll see. Running really, really low 20-second laps, just below 20 and a half, 20.4, probably going to get you on the pole, somewhere around there. Exciting race on hand tonight. We've got just, everybody, it's going to be a really big field tonight, actually, Evan. I'm showing right now we've got, almost 20, I think we're going to want to 28 to 29 drivers tonight, so really big field on this 1 mile track. They're going to get stacked up quick, and if they get to green flag racing, you want to be in the clean air. That's the best spot to be on this track, because after about 10 laps of racing hard, the push is real and those tires really get tricky.
So far in the practice session, as we're just now under 30 seconds away from tonight's qualifying session, Tony Lurcock at the top spot at number 42 with the 24.05, fastest driver at this moment. So these guys running just about 6, 7, or 8 tenths of a second off of the track record set at Phoenix with a 19.608 set by Arie Luyendyk back in 1996. It is needless to say that the speeds are up. The drivers now getting set to embark. It's a 5-minute qualifying session as always. Individual runs, 2 laps to post the best time to get yourself a spot on the grid. Sean, you talk about the track facts about Phoenix International Raceway. There's so many numbers, and we showed you the racetrack map there when we came on. It is a very interesting shape. There's 4 turns, but you can call it like a Pocono and call it a triangle if you wish. Turns 1 and 2, 10 to 11 degrees of progressive banking. The dogleg, 10 to 11 degrees of progressive banking. That technically counts as turn 2, although 1 and 2 counts as that first, the big sweeping left-hander. The back stretch is as well 10 degrees and 8 degrees. There's 3 degrees in turn 3, or 8 degrees in turn 3, rather, 8 to 9 degrees of progressive banking in turn 4. and 320s on the front straightaway. Basically, every single part of this racetrack is different. But what we're looking at, and I like that you mentioned with 28 cars here tonight, is the space. These guys are going to be tightly packed out there on track. When you're that tight, one thing that you need to have is handling. These drivers starting tonight with already a 50% rubbered racetrack before practice. That is being carried over through the warm-up and through to the race tonight. That means that the racetrack is going to be taking a lot of rubber. It is going to be very warm. So hot track, hot conditions, slick conditions mean that these cars can get loose, but don't
can't keep the car down there. You talk about the lack of that lateral grip. We're going to see it. You know they're going to be digging. They're going to want to go side by side, but man, that condition is just not going to work out. Yeah, it'll work out for those first, 10 laps or so. But like I said, as you get deeper into the run, the car is just going to go away from you. Every chance they get to get tires tonight, I think you're going to see them come in. I don't really think we're going to be talking about a fuel mileage race at the end of this, because I think you're going to be screaming for tires after about 10 to 12 laps tonight.
Possibly looking at 3 trips down to the pit lane. These tires falling off about 20% over the course of a run tonight. Phoenix is fun because we talked about how it's this new configuration. The dogleg is restricted tonight. That whole back straightaway is not wide open. You'll see the cones down up against the yellow line. There's a little bit of an opportunity for these guys to dip down, but not a whole lot. As well, though, Sean, these cars have so much downforce. If you wanted to, you see the cones right there topside as we look at some of the qualifiers out there on track right now. You could drive on the apron for the whole time. Probably not the smartest idea. So there is a rule implemented that yellow line on the bottom of the racetrack, a yellow line. So it does mean that normally it would mean that you're not allowed to pass down there, in exception to a double yellow line. But tonight, because these cars can try to cheat that, the officials making sure that these drivers, they can't put any more than just the left side tires down on the apron. If the right side tires go down there, they would be penalized, as well as you'd be penalized if you cut that dogleg a little bit too short. So it's a very wide racetrack in that respect, but that preferred groove right down there in the bottom with the progressive banking really not helping out the top side a whole lot, maybe at a turn 2 if anything. Space, real estate key, and well, a good way to get that real estate is to qualify good. How about Jake Wright continuing to impress your championship leader at this moment? Your fastest qualifier provisionally, still a couple of guys to hit the racetrack.
And there he sits with a 24.16 right now, almost 3/10 faster than Dan Guerin. So Jake with a really nice run there to get started. George was telling me earlier he thought that a low 4 would get the pole, and it's looking like it now. So maybe somebody can knock him off, but your points leader looking strong. Evan, lots of things to factor tonight. We talked about the fuel window, maybe 3 stops, about 40 to 42 laps. Tires being a premium, maybe 3 stops, hot track. Lots of factors going into this. This will be race 14 with 4 to go, championship. Jake's got a commanding lead, but 108 points, there's still a lot that can be done. Krahula can make a charge. Jake could have bad luck. You never know. You got to run the races. It's just like they say in the NFL. You got to play the games. Doesn't matter if you're undefeated. You still got to play the games. You never know what could happen on any given Sunday. Well, it's any given Wednesday night tonight, and this is anybody's race to win. We get a fresh start here in a few minutes. Qualifying just about over.
Yeah, you talked about those drivers at the top of the points, and we saw the standings, how big the gap was for Jake Wright over everybody else. James Krahula up there in second, 108 points back. Both of those top 2 have gone to victory lane, Sean. They both have impressive stats. Both drivers, 10 top 10 finishes. Jake Wright with 7 top 5s. Krahula with 6 top 5s. What I'm looking at, P3, 4, and 5 in the points. I want to see Pierre Deigel, Joe Hassert, and Ricky Harden get at it. Those guys, top 5, still searching for a trip to victory lane on the season. With that, your single car qualifying session has come to a close, so let's take a look at the Global Sim Racing Channel starting grid for round 14, the unacceptable 1:25. It is your championship leader that's able to hang on. Pole position for the second fastest driver in practice. Top small with a 20.420. Pole position for Jake C. Wright. Dan Gearing going to find himself on the outside of the front lane in second spot for the number 8 driver. Tony Lurcock slated for third tonight. Big Joe Hassert inside of the top 4. And Jason Robar's talk about pulling out the heat in quali. 19th in practice. He's a top 5 car on the grid.
Pierre Daigle, 6th place tonight. Not a bad qualifying effort for him. Jason Galvin in 7th. Joe Branch coming back tonight in 8th. Chris Stouffer there in 9th. Tony Shallen, not a bad qualifying run for him there in 10th. And then Drew Montz, the number 26, will start 11th.
Ricky Harding going to round out the outside of row number 6. 13th tonight going to be Brandon Lincoln. Corey Connor in 14th. 15th, Michael Gray. George Anzaldo in 16th. 17th is Ryan Bird. And Pete Edwins in 18th.
And there's your second place guy in the points championship right now, James Grohl in 19th. Jack Bogan will start there in 20th, just outside of him there on the 10th row. Tommy Ryan, the 2015 AMSOIL Truck Series champion and our onboard camera tonight, the unacceptable camera. He starts in 21st. Krista Nelson in 22nd. Alfred Shepard in 23rd. Vincent Blumenthal in 24th. And I'll take the rest of the field down here, Evan. Robert Bluen will start 25th tonight. Dylan Lee in 26th. Chris Lanini in 28th with no qualifying time. And Mark Nober will also start in 28th, no qualifying time.
And the field already gets set to roll. The pace car leads them down the back straightaway and already headed off to turns number 3 and 4. Again, Sean, as you mentioned, will be riding on board with the ASRS AMSOIL Truck Series champion, Tommy Ryan, back in the pack. We do want to welcome everybody tuning in from that race for part 2 of the Global Sim Racing Channel's Wednesday night doubleheader of sim racing action. Jake C. Wright, he's ready to get going. 4 races to go outside of tonight. It's the 5th to last. The pace car dives down and away. Jake Wright already lets her fly. Green flag flies. Underway we go from the Phoenix International Raceway. The unacceptable 125 green to turns 1 and 2.
Clean air is where you want to be, and that's where Jake is, man. You can win that race if you're in the clean air. You can do it from flag to flag if you get lucky, man. Jake already in a good spot. Lots of racing going on here in the back of the field. Everybody kind of dropping in line, though, right now as they start to spread out just a bit here, Evan, on the completion of lap 2. Or, I'm sorry, lap 1 there.
They take lap 2 down the back, the leader single file. Look at the move to the inside for the E to Dan Gearing. He wants the race lead. Bottom in 3 and 4. Gets the job done. So Dan Gearing goes to the top spot. Jake Wright drops back to second. Crosses him over back to bottom in turns 1 and 2. That's the nature of these cars. That's always a possibility at these ovals. Problem is, if you're that number 8 machine, is if you get past, you don't want to get past again before you can get back to him. That's when it goes bad. That's what's happening. Guerin stuck topside. Look at the run on the inside. Joe Hassert, not the run he wanted, Sean. In the Big Joe Camp anniversary race at Chicagoland Speedway 1 week ago. He's doing good right now. Can't quite snag second, though.
Not yet. No, he's got a little bit of work to do there. Man, lots of racing going on here throughout the field right now. Cars starting to try that side by side. Joe Branch on the inside right there. Man, it was close. It was right on the inside of, it looked like Pierre Daigle right there, and that was, man, they almost hooked up. Tony Shallen on the inside just behind them there. Corey Connor's been charging hard. Now he's stuck up on the outside.
There's battles going on. I mean, top 5, top 10, top 15, top 20, almost everywhere on track. We try to track the battles for positions most highest. How would battle for P7 down in turn number 1? Pierre Daigle looks to the inside, and he's going to get the spot on Tony Lurcock, at least the position down the back straightaway. Gives him a preferred lane to turns 3 and 4. Topside, though, I can promise you, the 42 of Lurcock not going to hold back at all, and he uses that extra little bit of banking, gets the run, and he'll defend P6. Daigle still in 7th. Through all of that, though, Jason Galvin started 7th. He's up to P5. He picked up a spot from that battle just that last time around. Phoenix, though, we talked about these guys getting single file. We talk about how important track position is, and Sean, we equivalate that with the fact that it is extremely difficult and risky to make passes here. No huge movers inside of the top 20 so far.
You know, we were looking at Lurkcock there a moment ago, him battling with Daigle, and man, Lurkcock just took off from Daigle. He got stuck with the battle behind him and just lost him. He pulled away from him. So, yeah, that car is really on a run right now. He's hooking up and getting around here pretty. He's got Galvin right in front of him. He's tracking him right now. That's going to be a battle for 5th place here in just a moment.
And a battle for P5, the first one going on outside of the immediate battle for the race lead. Jake Wright, Dan Guerin, P1 and P2, 1/10 of a second separate them now too. Joe Hassert's in third, he's half a second back, and actually with the bad quarter exit for the 8 of Dan Guerin, goes topside, and now caution, no trouble behind these guys. It's down the front stretch into turn 1. Heavy damage on Peter Edwins, number 16 Honda. Caution flag is out already, and that one looks like he had a little bit of help around.
Yeah, pulling up that replay right now. We'll take a look at it here, Evan.
Side by side to turn number 1. And outside lane is Pete Edwins. You see the contact. I mean, maybe pushing up a little bit was Michael Gray. Gray over the radio and said, I didn't touch you on my screen. And it looks like a little bit of netcode may have attributed. Let's ride on board with that 888 machine for Team Nailed It down to turn 1. Edwins gives him the inside. He doesn't quite go all the way up, but it's enough to spin him around. So a little bit of netcode not in favor of Pete Edwins tonight, Sean. And once that car broke sideways, he went straight up into the fence at a pretty heavy lick on the left side of that car. He's going to have to bring it down to the pit lane, but that could be the end of the night early for Pete Edwins, and it slows us down early inside of the first 10 laps. You talk about the importance of tires. Leaders already coming down pit road.
Sure, why not? Like I said, you know, this is definitely that spot where you'll do it. Tough break for Edwins, man. I hate to see that DirtyBlinds.com machine already sidelined here in the early stages of this race. He's already gone the lap down. That car needs extensive repair. It's hurting pretty bad. They're working on it, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to get it back out at this point. We'll get back to racing here in a moment, though. As all the leaders come down, they now find their way off, get back on the track. It does look like Jake Wright is going to hold on to that lead position there. A couple guys stayed out. Did we have some cars stay out there, Evan? Looks like one of them, maybe.
It looks like Alfred E. Shepard stays out from 19th position is where he was scored. And right now running behind the pace car has yet to lead a lap because he was back in the pack. But it looks like that machine will stay out, assume the race lead at lap number 12. And very questionable, Sean, always of the strategy in these cars because, you know, if you do a move where you stay out on old tires in a stock car race and you're slow, there's fenders. When you're slow in front of a field in open wheel cars, it can get ugly for people outside of you. But I like this call. We talk about fuel getting you just over 40 laps. Well, we know tires are important, but Alfred E. Shepard started this race in 23rd position. So if he can, you know, even stay inside the top 10, top 15, I'd consider it a win.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, good on him. Hey, somebody's going to gamble here. Why not it be him? Yeah, sporting a new paint scheme tonight, too. I'm checking out the new Izod Lacoste machine he's got going, the red, the black, the silver. Really, really cool-looking machine on that paint job on that number 13 tonight. Hey, again, somebody's got to gamble. Why not him?
So it looks like with that, he will continue to stay out. By the way, put the bonus point in the back pocket for leading a lap, but Shepard is going to be in control, and now he ducks down to the pit lane. So he takes that bonus point, comes down pit road, and, you know, we talk about the strategy aspect of staying out. If he stayed out, I think that's still a good call. This is even still a good call, Sean, because you get the bonus point, you like that, you come down, you get fresh tires. I don't really think the extra lap of fuel is really a strategic advantage, but you're going to be at the back of the pack now, not in the middle of the pack, maybe as if he pitted, he'll be way behind it, so if anything happens, he can slow the car down. Just keeping it early and playing it safe, I guess, in early going here.
You know, Evan, he is really a mere 3 points away from a top 15 in the championship. So, hey, pick up that bonus point. Good call. You know, I mean, that's a real, I just had to pull it up and take a look. That's a real good time to take that extra lap. Don't know if he was thinking about it, but certainly he is got to be aware of where he is in the points right now. I think all these guys are with just four of these races left after tonight. Love the new paint scheme on the car, though. I'll give him big bonus points for that. The other one was confusing. So good move there, Alfred.
Jake Wright, he wants to pile on the bonus points. The pace car is down. The green flag flies again. Your race leader, no problems getting down to turns 1 and 2. Going to lead the most laps and, hey, even go on to win this as he searches for another trip to victory lane on the season to add to his 1 win so far. The statistical numbers is what puts him so far in front of the field. Everybody, though, rather spread out that time in comparison to what we saw in the drop of the first green flag. Top 15 cars, single file down the back. Now a challenge inside the top 10 to the inside on the 14 of Pierre Digo goes to number 28 of Joe Branch, and Corey Connor right in the mix as well. It's a 3-car fight for P7.
And here comes Shallon. Watch out. He's closing in too. Keeping it down there on that yellow line. He gets a nice run off the turn. He is in that mix right now. Tracking on Corey Connor. Goes up kind of to the middle of the lane there. Dido kind of closes the door there on him in front. Then closes it again. Goes down by the goalies. Those two are certainly battling. Shallon kind of just lagging behind a little bit, but he is on his way. Branch leading that battle right now.
If Branch wins the battle, the objective is to win the war, and that is stay out in front of that group once you start to spread out, because even that little bit of battle puts these guys P7 on back almost 2 seconds behind the race leader. You're not going to pass somebody in 2 seconds time of distance. That's not going to happen. So what you want to do is be the lead car in that group of yours, try to pull away a little bit. Problem is, though, Joe Branch, he's actually getting a little bit of a draft off of Jason Galvin. So the car not handling all that well, and he'll catch this group. So it'll be a fight for P4 on back. Digo closing in as well behind. So there's no opportunity for that 28 to pull away because he gets clear of these guys. He's right in the next battle. Good news is, though, it's 4 position. Galvin looked to the inside of the racetrack, that time on the inside of Joe Hatzer. Nothing came from it, so the KGET number 12 machine goes topside, and that opens up the door for Galvin to challenge to the bottom. But he might get there in turn 1, but he applies the pressure.
Man, Big Joe was kind of in, just before you started talking about him, he was in the middle of a hornet's nest right there for a moment. I'm going back through the field here, just looking to see what's going on. You know, that last restart, we do it single file here in the LionHeart Racing Series, and yeah, they spread out a bit, but what it's created is some really, really good 2- and 3-car battles going on back through the field. Brian Bird and Brandon Lincoln having a pretty good tussle back here. Brian Bird, new to the series tonight, run several practice races with these guys, been warming up to come up to the bigs, gets his shot tonight. He is in the field and running pretty well right now, making a run right now on Lincoln, actually past Lincoln now, and setting his sights on Ricky Harden and getting under Shallon right there. Nice run there by Ryan Bird.
Bird, one of the drivers, doing good. As you mentioned, he's up 6 spots from the start of the race. No huge movers. Chris Lanini is the Brandi, too, doing pretty good. Back in 20th position at the moment. Started to P28. He's one of the bigger movers so far on the evening with a +8 as we take a look back at that Dragonfly Racing machine back in the pack. An update on after that caution flag. Only one driver off the lead lap at the moment. Pete Edwins still on the pit lane getting serviced. That car is not officially retired from the sim, but based on the damage, I would not expect him to get back out on track. How about P27 though, Sean? Not sure if Tommy Ryan had a little bit of champagne after the truck race, but he's way back here in 27th spot. We go on board with the Unacceptable Racing onboard camera, and that is a big gap to Christopher, P26 in front of him. So Ryan all alone as he comes across the start-finish line.
Makes me think of an old 70s tune. I'm not even going to try. I'm at this point, but yeah, no, Tommy, I think even his teammates would say that's just unacceptable. But, oh, there's the yellow flag, and Tommy to get a chance to get back up to the field.
Caution flag jumps it on Sean there mid-pun, and we slow things down for the second time tonight. This time, problems with George and Zaldo. Top 15 car, the number 6 Havoline machine, Sean. Talked about these cars getting tight 10 laps into a run. I'm pretty sure that was almost exactly 10 laps off of the pit lane, and then Zaldo gets tight, tags the wall in turn 1, and you see how he catches the fence eventually, but he gets back to turn number 3. The damage on that car could not keep her down, and he split it around. Good news is everybody was on it. They were able to get around him, so no additional damage is picked up. I'm sure he'll take a look at the right side suspension on that race car, so caution comes again after 10 laps, now 27 laps in, and I would assume that we'll see more pit road action.
I think he's going to want to bring it in, Evan. I'm taking a look at the right side of that car right now, and Yeah, the Haviland, the Kmart Haviland machine is a little beat up. That Ford needs a little bit of attention. I think it's time to bring her in and maybe get a little TLC on that right side. He could have a little bit of suspension trouble. Maybe it's going to be in for a few seconds here extra for repair for sure.
So down they come. Dan Guerin leads us in. Joe Hassert stays out. So the number 11 car will assume the race lead. Most of your other leaders onto the pit lane. Quite a few more drivers stay out this time than last time. But Dan Guerin, first driver in to be serviced. He pulls into the number 2 pit stall. There's no real large possibility of guys gaining or losing time at a pit lane. Everybody with about the same pit time delta. Guerin first off. Second off is going to Tony Lurcock, and Jake Wright beats Jason Robarge out of the pit lane in that fight for third. Drivers that stay out, though, well, there's abundance. Joe Hassert becomes P1, Tony Schoen to second, third for Drew Motz, fourth for Jack Pogan, and Dylan Lee in P5. They stay out. Question is, do they stay out, or do they come down to the pit lane once we get set to grid them back up for the restart? We'll see.
Yeah, we will see, but I don't know, man. Joe was one of those guys that just came in. Yeah, they started with lap 15. Yeah, I don't know, man. You know, about another 10-lap run there. So Joe was pretty fast. He was moving pretty well through the field there, and then kind of got a little bit off pace. Might have been saving those tires just a little bit. So we'll see how Joe gets off. But certainly these guys with pressure tires that are just outside the top 5, man, they will be better. We saw it last night in the practice race when I was watching, and if you had 10 to 15 lap tires that were better or newer, you were definitely faster.
Is 5 cars that stay out enough of a buffer for Joe Hassert to do anything up front? I will tell you this, though. The situation that the 11 finds himself in now is very different for the situation P2 and 5 are through. Credit to Tony Shelwood. We were talking about the 31 Sean getting up there into those single-digit running spots, top 10 battling, but he started in P10. Behind him in third right now, Drew Motz started in 11th. Jack Bogan, who's fourth right now, started 20th, and it was a P26 on the grid for Dylan Lee, who's fifth. So you have 4 out of the 5 guys that stay out come from outside the top 10. Behind them, the first guys off of the pit lane, Dan Guerin, Tony Lurcock, Jake Wright, Jason Robarge, Pierre Daigle through Jason Galvin in 11th. That next set of 6 drivers all started no worse than 7th. So they're staying out in an attempt to gain some track position. We will see if that works for them at all. The lights go off on top of the pace car. We'll see what Hassert can do.
Well, you never know what could happen behind you. Staying out might be the good play right now. Like you said, that's a 5-car buffer for your leader, Big Joe. He told me he likes this clean air here at Phoenix. He was another one of those drivers that was talking about it. It could be a really, really good battle tonight throughout this race. We'll see if we have these kind of restarts. They will go single file here, Evan.
And topside they go to protect the passing lane on the outside of the racetrack. The American Childhood Cancer Organization PACAR, sharp left-hand turn down to the safety of the pit lane. Hassert gets on it, green flag back in the air we go for the second time off of a caution flag tonight. So Joe Hassert sets us off down to turn number 1. This time a lot more going on, though, just outside the top 5. The battle is on. Dan Guerin trying to hold off Lurcock in P6.
Yeah, the battle is real. Corey Connor and Jason Galvin almost hooked up on that restart. Now Corey Connor, Joe Branch, those two are running together. Galvin's starting to get away, looking up in front of Galvin there. He's got Daigle in front of him, and looks to be Jason Robarge. Sorry about that. Oh, Daigle almost making contact with Robarge.
And Daigle's got to get the handle back on that car. A little bit of a bobble. Robarge gets clear. Now he's on the flip side, Sean, because to the inside on him goes Jason Galvin, and just behind Galvin, Joe Branch wants a piece too.
Ooh, I think somebody got a piece of the wall there.
George Anzaldo slow on the apron. I saw some smoke, and it was from that number 6 Haviland machine, Sean. Spun it out of turns 1 and 2, down below the yellow line. That would normally trigger a caution at this Phoenix International Raceway because that dogleg's all open, but because it's a restricted dogleg, he spun below where those cones were, no caution flag.
I want you to watch Dylan Lee right now. He's running ninth in the Fuzzies machine. He's doing exactly what he told me he was going to do. He's running that line up by the wall. He's purposely not running down there. He's taking care of the tires. And he's getting passed right now, but again, he's taking care of the tires, hoping for a green flag run. He told me if he can hold on a long run, he can beat these guys with better tires.
And he got stuck way topside that time in 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars, I believe, make the pass. Now back in 17th position. Other than him, though, it is still Joe Hassert, Tony Schoen, Drew Montz, and Jack Bogan. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dan Guerin trying to change that. He's the lead driver on fresh tires. He takes over the number 4 spot with that pass coming up from the restart in P6.
Yeah, it's funny. It's hard to talk about Dylan Lee, and all of a sudden he starts backing up. I don't think that was exactly the plan, but hey, lots of racing going on here. 37 laps in. We've got a lot of battles going on right now. One of them is for that top 10. Galvin, Corey Connor just in front of him. This is the battle right now here mid-pack. Your Big Joe doing exactly what we talked about him doing, and that was getting into the clean air. These cars handle so much better when they are all by themselves on a track. It's just incredible. When they're next to each other on this track, on this configuration of Phoenix here, they are just a mess to handle, man. They get real twitchy. Again, we talked about the push being real. They want to climb to the wall. You just running side by side is so treacherous. The farther and farther you get into run on these tires.
You take a look for P3. Dan Guerin's been able to make up the gap. That was about 0.6 of a second. Back to Drew Mott, so the number 26 back to 4th. And Dan Guerin jumps up to P3. He continues his charge. 1.2 seconds off of Joe Hassert, your current race leader, and still behind Tony Shelwood, who continues to occupy the number 2 spot. George Anzaldo had that spin, Sean, caught the wall in turns 1 and 2 earlier tonight, got damaged, spun it out for a caution. We saw him spin again on the apron for no caution flag this most recent time. Well, he's sitting on the pit lane and is now in the same position as Pete Edwins, where Edwins' car not behind the wall, not out of the race, but he's not behind the wheel. It's the exact same scenario for George Anzaldo, the number 6 K-Bar Havoline machine on pit road. You see him there, the driver not behind the wheel. He continues to fall laps down. It appears that his night may very well be done as well.
That's a shame, too. What's even more of a shame is George has had this really, really nice battle going on with Jake for the least amount of incidents in the season. And George was sitting with 18, Jake with only 13 after last week's race. They were your 2 leaders and giving away a little trophy for that here at the end of the season. Chris Lanini was in that hunt too with 18, so was Robert Fluen. So a lot of guys locked up there for that, but that's tough for George because I know it meant a lot to him. He was really close to Jake. He had gained a couple of points from last week's race, so sorry to see him out this early and to have to suffer those incidents.
Yeah, we talked about Jake, right, Sean? Didn't he have only 4 incidents or something up until last week's race? Because now he's at 13. We were talking about his incident per race being at like 0.4 something. Now it's at 1 with 13 incidents. So we said that when he had those problems and, got incident points, obviously a poor result, the fact that it was a rough week for him. But even still with that, he's 108 points in the lead, so that speaks to how strong he's been all season long. He's P6 at the moment. Jack Bogan is not on the front end of any of this going on right now. The iRace for Gage Chevrolet, top side to turn 1. The challenge comes from the 5 of Dylan Lee. Bogan, one of the drivers that was up there at the front, now back in 18th spot as he slides on old tires.
Yeah, probably raced it a little hard there for those first few opening laps, and probably thought better of it, decided to start backing off a little bit, backing up those turns just a bit, try to save those tires. Still has a top 20 run going. He's in 18th. He started 20th, so not all bad for Jack. I'm sure he's going to get another opportunity to get himself in the mix again.
So we talk about your championship leader. We're second in points. James Krahula, the number 4 machine, 15th right now. A quiet night The bike mark machine at the moment started 19th, is 15th right now, working with Michael Gray. Ricky Harden just behind him, and the Michelin Chevrolet behind. These a couple of guys that have kind of hung out where they started all race long. Dylan Lee, though, out of the Fuzzy's Premium Vodka Machine, P26 to 17th. One of the bigger movers so far on this race. Dan Guerin, though, trying to catch Tony Show, and it looked like he had him, and now showing about 0.7 of a second in front. So we talked about how tires obviously are very important, Sean. We saw once our guys on fresh tires caught some of the guys that stayed out, they got obliterated. But that buffer of 5 drivers staying out was enough that it looks like this might just pay off for Hassard and showing up front.
It just might. Hey, go to the Unacceptable Racing camera right now. Boucan director, he's battling with Mark Nobert, and they almost got together. I mean, Tommy had that right wing all over the left rear, and kind of pushes his way around Nobert. Nobert trying to get back to him, but can't pull it off. Tommy's still kind of here mired in the back of the field. I'm going to say he's officially toast from winning the championship, and yeah, he might have had a champagne or something like that. I don't know. But he's certainly not on pace with these guys tonight. Understandably so. I mean, listen, he just won a championship. I think finishing this race at this point it would be a supreme victory for him tonight.
At this point, it's just logging laps till he can get back to the team celebration, because one of the drivers that performs double duty a lot with the American Sim Racing Series, Zamsoil Truck Series, earlier on in the evening, comes to race the Indy cars here with us at the LionHeart IndyCar Series later on these Wednesday nights, and one of a couple of drivers that has been doing that with the Unacceptable camp, Tommy Ryan, P24. His objective on the night has been completed. Big Joe Hasser, that's all you gotta say, gained 6 spots in the championship standings with a P3 at the Chicagoland Speedway. He's top 5 in points right now, and he is leading at the Phoenix International Raceway in search of his first win in Season 3.
Tell you what, he's chasing Pierre Deigel in the points. Pierre about 54 points in front of him when we started this race, so Joe looking to make up some ground. Pierre finds himself right now, not having a bad run. He sat back there in 8th place, battling with Corey Connor right now, keeping himself out of trouble here in the early stages of the race. But I'll tell you who is having a good run. Ryan Berg making his debut here tonight with the LionHeart Racing Series. He finds himself in the top 10 and now battling with Pierre Deigel. He's got to watch out, though. He's got Joe Branch right behind him there, Evan.
And how about green flag pit stops? To the apron goes the number 26 of Drew Motz. He is going to come down to the pit lane for service and fuel at lap number 56. He'll give up a top 6 running position, come down to get serviced, and with that, it's going to kick off the big swing of pit stops. Joe Hasser down to the pit lane this very next time, so your race leader will come down at a lot more of an aggressive entry for the 11 machine as Hasser comes in a good entry.
I'll tell you what, that's a tricky one to get into, man. It comes up really, really quick there. You got to pick your spot carefully, and you don't want to be far enough up on the track that somebody might clip you as they're going by trying to cut that turn off.
Side by side on the pit lane as a couple of these guys go at it. Tony Schoen stays out to become the race leader. Now he comes down to the pit lane at a turn number 4, so the 31 machine is down. What you don't want to see, if you're one of these guys that pits at the beginning of a stretch of green flag pit stops, is you don't want an early caution flag, because that could, if not just drop you way back, put you a lap down, depending on how long it does take you to get that machine serviced. So here's to hope that everybody can get through this cycle of pit stops nice and clean, which could be challenging when you consider the fact that these guys are going to have to blend out of the pit lane, Sean. It is a tricky pit lane exit because, again, although the whole dog leg not there, you're coming right up on track, right where a lot of guys are having handling issues. You're going to have a faster car. Things narrow up in the dog leg there, and you talk about the speed between a guy with old Firestones and new Firestones. These are treacherous parts of the race.
Yes, definitely. And, hey, we're halfway. It's go time, so... Dan Guerin, though, is your leader. He is bringing that car in. There we go. Dan Guerin making his pit stop. So he hits his point as leader. Gets into the pits nice and clean there. I think he was definitely under the limit, under the 45-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit here at Phoenix. And he is coming in and getting ready to put that car in the box. and then get that Sinclair tractor machine back out and fight for this race.
Give a bonus point to the chaser in the championship standings. James Krahula, top spot as he continues to try to cycle things through right now. As he goes to P7, he continues to try to chase the top spot. That would give him an ever so important bonus point. Right now, that spot occupied by Tony Lurcock. The number 42 machine brings the overdrive graphics, number 42 car down to the pit lane. Jake Wright in second, back to the top spot for the driver of the 27, trailed by Robarge.
That is some battle going on right there behind Krahula. Oh, who's that? It's coming to the pit. Is that Jack Bogan? Looked like Jack Bogan was off the track there. He is slow. Car got out of shape on him.
And Bogan slow on the apron in 3 and 4, and he actually cut the fence shot out of 1 and 2. Cut the dog leg, and I believe he's going to be coming down the pit lane. No, he stays out, but that might be a penalty, I would imagine.
Yeah, he very well may have gotten a penalty. He's got significant, I don't know about significant, but he's definitely got some damage on the right side. Tommy Ryan getting under him on the track right now. We're looking at the replay here on the screen. And Jack down on the inside right there as they come through the turn, and the car just turns up right into the wall there.
Just like George Anzaldo, just behind somebody, and the car just plowed straight up the hill. Now spinning on the apron, Jack Bogan, caution flag.
Yeah. Man, I got to tell you, he should have just brought that car in, man. That damage on the right side was pretty good. I didn't want to say significant, but it looked like it was twisted up, man. He was having trouble from the get-go there after he collected that concrete.
You saw the replay, a self-spin down on the inside of turn number 1. And a lot of the time, Sean, it's hard to judge the damage as we slow him down now and not entirely through pit stops. So talk about a shake-up in a race. Jake Wright going to be your race leader, but I mean, the damage on the right side, sometimes it's terrible and the car is okay, sometimes it looks minor, but it really messes with the suspension, so it's hard to judge that. But based on what we saw with Anzaldo, gets back out there, spins it out after getting it fixed already from spinning out from the damage, it seems like right side damage is really a killer tonight.
Yeah, that's certainly not the side of the car you want to have twisted up. We've already seen it and what it's done to Anzaldo and now Bogan. George definitely he is fighting. He's going to get the car back out there. He got the repair he needed. Car is clear to get back out on the track. 32 laps down. Lots of racing left to do for him. He is fighting for something, and everybody is here in the LionHeart Racing series. You definitely want to stay locked into that top 20 for next season. And, every race is important to these guys, especially to George being the founder and league admin here. He's back out there going to do his best. But Jake Wright is still our leader. Back to the lead. Tough break for Big Joe. Finds himself now a lap down, back in 13. Only 12 cars left on the left on the lead lap there, Evan.
And good news for those guys is Christopher Pitts, because the number 7 was scored P12. That's a lead lap car. Did not pit. And because he didn't pit, Sean, he's between the pace car and all of those lappers. They would not have been able to get their lap back. There's only one way to get a lap back at IndyCar, and that's the wave by, which means all the race leaders, guys on the lead lap, are behind you. That is now the case. So when the lights go off on a pace car, rejoining the lead lap would be Chris Lanini, Alfred E. Shepard, Big Joe Hassert, Dan Guerin, Jason Galvin, Tony Schoen, Lurcock, Branch, Motts, Lee, and Deigel. So 12th through 21st. You'll see that they're now scored as you take a look at the bottom of the screen as the ticker rolls on through. Instead of showing -1 lap, they're behind by about 1 minute and 7 seconds. It's because if the leader were to pass them, they'd be a lap down. So maybe they're, 9/10 of a lap behind. So they'll be able to group back up, get behind the race leaders for the restart. That is good, obviously, but again, we talked about how when you get these green flag pit stops kicked off, this is the risk, and even if they get back to the lap, still not good because they're all outside the top 10 now, and the top 10 drivers on track that now become them. Jason Robar's the only one of them that started in the top 10. He was your P5 qualifier, so a lot of fast guys going to be mid-pack, just past the halfway point. This should be fun as the lights go out on top of the pace car.
Ooh, it's going to be fun indeed. You're going to have all these fast guys back here fighting for real estate, Evan. Here we go.
So around they go. They got to hustle, too, to be able to catch back up. The pace car lights have gone off around the racetrack as well. So it'll be Jake Wright in the front of the field, actually in front of Jason Robards. So the scoring cycles through. A scoring problem with the 27 was not calculated in the scoring the last time through. But he is now updated correctly on the standings. So Jason Robards, second, who started P5. I knew there were 12 guys on a lead lap, but it went down to 11. So for some reason, the 27 was not scored for a lap. He is your control car. Talk about getting a little bit of luck on top of a fast machine. Can Wright use this to his advantage to get the win? He rides the yellow line in turn 4. Green flag flies back underway for the unacceptable 125. And Jake Wright, he's gone.
Hey, Evan, did you see who worked their way up to 9th place? That would be the unacceptable racing machine of Tommy Ryan, number 66. He has found himself in the hunt.
All of these guys have done very good. Kristen Elson just behind the number 25 P10 right now. Robert Bluen 25th to 11th. A lot of this is partially strategy based as Michael Gray loses his spot. So Tommy Ryan going forward in a fight for P8, Sean. Part of this is luck-based because you can't predict when a caution flag comes out, but they consciously made the decision to stay out in hopes that it did. So I'm looking forward for the guys that run P3 through P11 right now, who all started outside of the top 12. All the way from 12 through 25th was the range that those guys started from. I want to see them take advantage of this and get some top 10s out of it. A long way to go to hang on. 50 laps to go, and about 2-3 laps from now, still a lot can happen, but they're in a good spot.
Man, the field battles and Jake Wright just smiles. I mean, you know, it's just he's got a little bit of work right here though. He's got Connor working on him. Tiger looking pretty strong here. He's not too far from him. He's putting a little bit of heat on him here. Closing the gap quickly. Krahula looking there. Yeah, not a bad line there by Connor. He gets a little closer. Here comes Krahula. He's coming quick. In the picture.
P11 is the only driver that's gone forward so far of those that got the wave by. Joe Hassert has gone from 13th to 11th. He is the highest running driver out of those that had pitted before the caution flag flew. He was able to make a move on Robert Bluen for the number 11, 12 spots as well. Dylan Lee has dropped significantly back to 18th start. Hassert going to go to the inside on Kristen Elson. That's the pass for P10. That's all fine and dandy, but you're over 4.5 seconds now behind the race leaders. Hassert's going to need a couple of cautions and some good fortune to get back into this one. This is an entirely new race past the halfway point that sees Wright, Connor, and Krahula 1, 2, 3. And at a night that was looking not good for James Krahula, Sean, still not all that terrific because you're still running behind the guy that you're chasing in the points, but talking about defending that top two in the championship, he was a 17th, 16th, 15th place car all night. This has really given him a good opportunity. He's liking it up front. He's holding on to that bottom step on a podium right now, although Robards might have something else to say about that as that DuPont Automotive finishes. Chevrolet took a beat to the inside. Nothing comes from it.
Hey, James doing everything he can. He's putting his best effort forward, and that's all you can do, man. And sometimes a little bit of luck and a little bit of fate has got to come into play to help you out. And certainly he's got a chance with 4 races left. I saw some smoke on the track there. I wonder what that is. Joe Branch maybe throwing down a little smoke there on the track. Not sure what that was, but certainly a nice fight going on up front right now. And you know, we talked about him a little bit before. Ryan Bird, newcomer, hanging in there in 7th place. He started 17th. Been steady here in the top 10 pretty much for most of the race.
Took a peek back. Joe Branch at the moment, no major issues. Still out there on track. He is 1 lap to the negative, but I don't see any problems with that car. We'll try to confirm it if it was his car that was kicking up some smoke there. Meanwhile, a lot of fighting going on. How about Krahula, the number 4? He slides back as Corey Connor defends that number 2 spot after it looked like Kahula just about had it. So now he has to deal with Jason Robards. Brandon Linkeman right now in P5. Started 13th, so he hasn't been out of the conversation all night, but he's been flying under the radar, Sean. Haven't said his name, I don't think, at all, and unfortunately show a great run for the number 73 Honda, a top 5 car right now, and he's in a good dogfight trying to defend that position as Ricky Harden's giving him quite a fight for it.
Yeah, Ricky Harden, another unacceptable racing teammate right there. And he's got Tommy Ryan back there in 8th, just 2 spots back. It's kind of funny how this unacceptable racing team always kind of finds their way back to each other, usually at some point during a race. All of them are sitting in the top 10 right now. Kahula, Harden, and Ryan all within 2 spots of each other as the yellow is back out again.
Trouble down the back stretch. It is Ryan Bird who is turned around, and he tries to get that car back going, but the back end not quite in a raceable condition. Problems for the vape fuel entry as he goes back end first into the inside retaining wall. The caution flag is out, and Sean, exactly what we've seen all night. Running behind Ricky Harden. Car gets tight, up the hill, hits the fence, and spins around.
The push is real, man. The push is real, and we're riding on board with him right now as he makes his entry there into the turn. Getting a nice, he's getting a run, and he had to back off, and it just wasn't enough. Probably needed to jam on the brakes a little bit harder, but that is a tough break. There's that dang commentator's curse again. I'm sorry, Ryan. Sorry to put you in the pits there, buddy.
So your leader's going to come down to the pit lane. They get serviced and come down for another swing of service in this one. So they're let down by Jake Wright as well. And by the way, he had that wheel all the way turned to the left in that incident. It's strange because the cars, they're loose on the bottom, but they get tight very quickly, and that condition not going to go away as the night progresses. So Jake Wright, your race leader, down to the pit lane. He goes into the number 1 pit stall that he got for qualifying on pole position tonight. Cart goes up on the jack for fresh Firestone tires and off. A good challenge. Not enough, though. Corey Connor in the number 14 stall gave him a run for his money.
Grahula had a little battle there with Robards getting off of pit lane. That was fun. Definitely, these guys are starting to get impatient now. Evan, you look where we're at right now. 86 laps in the books. You can finish this race on this tank of fuel.
Do you want to is the question as far as tires.
Right, exactly. I mean, will you have enough tires to make it? That's where I start talking about what Dylan Lee was talking about before this race and trying to find that smoother, higher line on this track. But, man, I don't know. With all the racing we've seen here so far tonight, I just don't know if that's going to work out.
I can guarantee you if we see another caution, they'll probably want to come back down to the pit lane. I can't guarantee it, but I would suggest that we would probably see another yellow, because if we're to go green to the end of this one, that means getting close to what was the longest green flag stretch of the night that just now came to a close. And once you group everybody back up and you tell them that there's a checkered flag less than 40 laps away from them, Phoenix, that can mean a variety of things. The battle that we keep looking at is back to Joe Hassert. Still P9, Sean, is all that he's been able to get. He hasn't really been able to break through again. The top 12 were the drivers that had yet to come down to the pit lane on the second and most recent caution flag. They took over the top 12. That put all of the fast guys, realistically, for the most part, outside the top 12 a lap down they got a wave by. Outside of Joe Hassert, Dan Guerin trying to steal this one. Jake Wright and Jason Robards 1-2 right now were the only drivers that started top 10 in this race that were top 10 for the second and most recent restart. Part of that group that lucked out with the yellow. Dan Guerin has eclipsed Joe Hassert, and Hassert looked untouchable when he was in front of Guerin when they were inside of the top 2, top 3. So that number 8 machine up the P6, he could be the best bet.
Yeah, he could be, and unfortunately Ryan Bird out of this race. He has climbed out of the car and disconnected from the server. Tough debut here tonight for Ryan Bird. But I got to tell you, I was talking about him just before that wreck. Ryan had a very consistent run going there for quite for 3/4 or 2/3 of this race, Evan. So good on him. Look forward to seeing Ryan Bird back in the series here real soon, maybe even next week. But we'll see. Big Joe now, we talked about him in the top 10. Lots of work to do. He's got some awful fast guys in front of him. And we're winding down this race. Has he got enough to get to the front? We're about to find out.
Wright leads us at a turn number 2. He's in control and he wants to hold it through lap number 125 to get the job done. At a turn number 2, down the short chute into turns 3 and 4, it's Wright, Robarge, Krahula, and Brandon Lincoln through P4. Tommy Ryan in 5th. Nothing brewing yet for Dan Guerin. In fact, it looks like he's getting more of a challenge from behind with Ricky Harden, that he is challenging up with Tommy Ryan, who again, by the way, the number 66 shot has been P27 all night. He's a top 5 car and holding it side by side in front. Brandon Lincoln, the move to the inside. How about a top 3 for the 73?
Lincoln closing the door on Krahula right there. Battle for the lead up there, Evan.
Bottom side for Jason Robarge. Jake Wright gets pushed down to the outside. Can the DuPont Automotive finishes Chevrolet, that number 79 of Jason Robarge. Rainbow Warrior colors on board that Chevrolet-powered Dallara. Maybe a win tonight would give some good luck for Jeff Gordon on Sunday. Trying to get it. Problems though behind these guys. It's Brandon Lincoln and contact through the goal to get through it. I don't know how. That should have been a big accident. Ricky Harden gets tagged by the aid of Dan Guerin. They hang on, and that was Lincoln Sean, who had just taken over the 3rd spot, overdrove it into turn number 1 after the 4 challenge to the inside, and Lincoln didn't
contact with Hassard. Oh, that was contact with Hassard and Dan Guerin right there. Puts Dan Guerin up on the wall.
And it looks like behind him it is Corey Connor. Caution flag is out. The Tiger Print machine posting backwards on the racetrack, and through all of that, finally, a yellow comes out of that chaos, and that was Corey Connor. Top side, right there, the contact car getting tight on the inside. It was Kristen Elson who pushed up, tagged Corey Connor, sent that car for a ride, and he wasn't able to keep it out of the outside fence, so he picks up some damage on it. Might be a night killer for Corey Connor. Caution flag back out, just shy of 30 laps to go.
So, while all that was happening, Hassert and Guerin were fighting for position, and they made contact. And I got to get back and look at Guerin's car. I'm not sure if he's got damage or not, but that car went up the track. He is not coming in. No, man, I guess he saved it from the wall. I didn't catch all of it, but man, Guerin getting really lucky there after making contact with Hassert, as Hassert was trying to get by him. Still showing Hassert in 9th place, but man, tell you what, he was having quite a run. Yeah, see, I think that contact, he's having to bring that car in. I think he might have gotten a little bit of damage. Big Joe is up on the jack right now. That's going to shuffle him back farther into the field.
It looks like Brandon Lincoln, the first driver to come down to the pit lane, and we expect that because the 73 was in the fence, Sean. I hate to see that because Lincoln top 3 when he was running there. It was Krahula who went to the bottom. It wasn't a dive bomb by the 4. It's just the fact that Lincoln was having fun in 3rd, and he didn't want to give it up. But unfortunately, because of that, Sean, over his head a little bit, didn't get out of the gas topside, just drove himself into the fence. A tough break for what was a great run.
Well, Jeff Gordon fans are certainly going to be happy to see Jason Robarge restart this race on point at DuPont Automotive Finishes. Dallara is hot tonight, baby. Number 79 is going to restart the race. Our leader, Jake Wright, going to do something he's not too familiar to doing, and that's starting in 2nd. We'll see if Jason can get a nice run into the clean air, and if maybe James can give Jake a little bit of a fight. Give Jason a chance to get away. We're going to restart this race. It's going to be a sprint, Evan. A sprint to the finish.
And I will say, Sean, I classify myself under that category of people, and if Jason Robarge winning has any sort of sign from above, I would absolutely take that. Right, though, we know is not going to give this up easily. He's your series points leader through 13 of 18 races after tonight. Just 4 races to go in the Season 3 Championship with the LionHeart IndyCar Series on the Global Sim Racing Channel, America's premier open-wheel championship on the sim and in the sim racing community. It's not easy to walk away and be dominant in a championship in this respect when you look at the names that we see here every single week. Jake Wright trying to get the job done. As I said, Jason Robar is a top 10 driver in points. He's yet to get a win, but I'm still looking at Pierre Deigel, Joe Hassert, Ricky Harden, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the points without wins yet on the season, and only up to 2 or 3 top 5s. Good top 10s, that's why they're up there, but a couple of the guys, really, Sean, you can look at the top 25 in points, and I can say that I expect any of those guys to win and break through, but eventually it'll be somebody's night. Is tonight Jason Robar's night. 97 going to go to the books. 98 goes into the works. It'll be just about 28 laps to go when we get back at it. Corey Connor, by the way, retiring. He's behind the wall. His night is done, along with Joe Branch, Ryan Bird. They join Jack Bogan, George Anzaldo, and Peter Edwins as tonight's retirees through the opening 100 laps. So the pace car going to get down and away. Robars, you got to get up. You got to get going. He holds the field back, rather, not going at it right away. Waits a long time. Now green flag flies. Underway we go. That's a big check. We're all stacked up to turn 1.
Hey, leader gets to start the field, man. That was actually a pretty good start. I didn't have any problem with it at all. Tell you what, it works out for him because he is off and to the races, baby. Jason with a nice start in the clean air. The problem is Krahula didn't get enough of a jump on Jake, and Jake is now starting to catch Jason. So Jason looking over his shoulder right now, looking into that mirror. He's got a mirror full of Jake C. Wright, baby, the number 27, coming up on him quick, looking to the outside as they head through the turn here. Jake really charging hard. Looking to the inside as they come down the front stretch. He's getting a run up the top there and going to cross it back over down and going to keep a little bit of distance still. Jake not ready to make that run yet. We'll see here as they head into the final 3rd turn here.
He tries to set him up, and the problem is when you're behind that car, there's a big pocket of air, Sean. The car's faster because there's no wind resistance, but there's no wind and air getting on the nose of that car to assist with downforce. So he's got to be careful how close he makes it, and you can see that's why he ducks out of line, tries to get clean air. Thought about going topside that time in 3 and 4. He's making a very wide entry, diamonding it low in the corner. Trouble though in turn number 4. Contact, big accident. Dan Guerin involved in this one. Up and over for Brandon Lincoln. A huge accident on the front straightaway. The 73 rolls onto all 4 tires. Caution with 23 laps to go. And this one deserves a second look. We heard the 8 over the radio. It starts all the way back in turns number 1 and 2. They go down to turns 3. And, you know, in 3 and 4, you're finding the problems. That 8 machine gets checked up. Dan Guerin slow. He was kind of surprised, I think, caught off guard by the wide entry that Tony Lurcock took. You watch down the backstretch they go. You're on board with Guerin. He goes to the outside. And right there when he arcs, that car shoots up the hill. He's surprised by it. He catches the wall, is slowed down, and then in a completely separate accident right there, that bright green car, boom, right up into him. Brandon Lincoln, Sean, in a completely unrelated incident, gets sideways on the bottom. By the way, did we not say that right side damage is going to make the car loose all night long? Lincoln can't recover from it, just like with George Anzaldo. The car spins around, and unfortunately, Guerin right there, and that was a huge hit.
Yeah, Lincoln's done. I'm afraid Guerin's going to be done too, man. That's an awful lot of damage on that car. We were just talking about Guerin getting up, into that top 10 and racing for these vital championship points, and it looks like Dan is going to wind up with the finish just in sight. Evan, what a tragic ending for that Sinclair tractor machine, man. There's just hardly anything of it left there as it rolls into pit lane.
And he does not have that big of a gap over Tommy Ryan and Jason Robards in point, Sean. And after losing a top 5 spot in the championship after Chicagoland fell to 8th in points into tonight, this could drop that team nailed it entry all the way out of the top 10 in points. Maybe if not so to at least 10th, depending on the results for the impending 22 laps. The restart will be with 20 laps to go. What that means is, well, there's still a possibility for a couple of yellows, a couple of restarts. The restarts so far have been very fun to watch, at least for us. Caution flag inside of the final 5 laps. Sean, as always, no restart, but there is still an opportunity if we get a couple of quick cautions for maybe 1-2 more restarts. Realistic, I guess I'll say first off that the drivers want to go green, but realistically we're going to see cautions because they're not settling down anytime soon. It's only going to get more crazy.
God, crazy was that hit by Lincoln in there. That car, I don't know, I lost track of how many times that car spun around. That was crazy. This finish with less than 20 laps to go, yeah, that's going to be crazy. Unacceptable Racing doing a real good job of supporting the sponsor here for tonight's race, Unacceptable Racing. They are all fighting for a top 5 finish right now. All 3 of them could end up on the... I can't believe I actually counted Tommy Ryan out earlier. The 2015 AMSOIL Truck Series champion. I said he was done and back of the field and he was just here to party and just finish this race. He finds himself, he's going to restart in 3rd, Evan.
P3
I'm saying
behind.
4th. He's going to restart in 4th.
Yeah, P3 in front of him, Karula behind him. You find Tommy Ryan, and that would put him in the number 4 spot, as you mentioned. Just behind him, Jason Galvin, Ricky Hardin, Michael Gray, Pierre Deigel, top 8 at the moment, getting back to where he started in P6. Joe Hassert now in 9th, continues to try to get his way through the field, but has been stuck in 9th for the 2 most recent caution flags, and Tony Showen in the number 10 position. Lights off on top of the American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT pace car. There will be 19 laps to go in the unacceptable 125. And Jason Robar, Sean, as we get set to go back green for this one, he'll lead us to it.
Can he get a chance to do it again? Can he stay up there for just a few more laps? We're about to find out, Evan.
He's held on, I think, for at least 2. Could he get a couple more, if not one final time? Pace car down and away. He held them back a long time last time. Same strategy out of 4, a slow roll. Green flag flies, and underway we go. What that does is everybody behind is stacked up. Maybe a strategic move by Robars because they might get in an accident. He leads at a 2.
Big Joe Hassert gets the jump on Pierre Deigel, getting away from him quick, man. Already trying to get to Michael Gray and Ricky Hardin there. Big Joe with a great start, man. He's catching Michael Gray really quick. Going to try and split the middle here. Not quite. He's going to lock in there with Ricky Hardin and run that higher line right now. Michael Gray stuck down low. Hardin all the way up to the wall right there. Almost caught a piece of concrete.
Almost saw the crossover of the year. It wasn't meant to be. The battle for the race lead at a turn number 4. Jake Wright really wide into turn 1. Sean, he tried to swipe down on Robars and he couldn't get to the inside, and that opens up the door for James Krahula, the number 4 machine, trying to get to 2nd. Can't quite get the power down the backstretch to the dogleg on the inside of the racetrack, so he goes high, tries to wind that car back up. As you go on board at a turn 4, you watch the leaders do battle. Wright closes in, uses that draft to get to the back bumper of Robars. Just 10 laps, 10 miles to go this time around. It's still Robars in front.
Big Joe Hassert just picked up another spot. Just picked up 6 from Ricky Hardin. He's moving, baby. Watch out, Jason Galvin. Here comes Big Joe. Big Joe picks up 3 spots on the restart. And now is making his way to the front. Watch out, guys. He's got time left to get this done. Oh, there goes the yellow again.
And it's problems down the back. Dylan Lee and Tony Lurcock are involved. Caution and one final restart on tap, and I don't even think we need an explanation on this one, Sean. I'll just say same song and dance. It was Dylan Lee on the inside of the racetrack. Talked about Lee, one of the biggest movers all night long, up 12 spots. You see the big contact. Just got tight. And I mean, when that car gets tight, there's nothing you can do. The only way you don't hit that guy up topside, Sean, is you walk the brakes up. And maybe he gets clear, but you still pound the wall. So you're out of the gas, the wheels turn all the way to the left. You see, though, all the way up, there's nothing he can do. So he gets in topside into, actually, what is that, number 42 with Tony Lurcock, we find in the outside wall. But Chris Lanini, air gets under that car. He blows over and goes for quite the ride on his lid and collects Kristen Nelson once he slides up to the fence.
Yeah, Chris Lanini, who was, having a decent run, was still out of trouble for most of the night, and then gets collected in that, and pretty much ends his night for him. As that car is pretty twisted up. He's going to be in the pits for a little bit here, I would expect, if he's able to even get it back out at all.
And all of those drivers that are involved, they come down to the pit lane and get serviced. Your race leaders, though, they don't stay out at this time. They want the track position more than the tires, because if you pit as the leader, Sean, everybody else can stay out. And we saw that even with just 5 cars staying out on old tires earlier in the race, even though the bottom 3 of those that were 3, 4, and 5 on track got passed, by the time the guys on fresh tires did that, those top 2 were able to pull away. And with this restart coming up at about 6, 7 laps to go, not a possibility. So they stay out, and it looks like pretty much the general consensus for your race leaders is they need the track position at this point, because based on what we've seen in the last 15 laps, they're not expecting this one, I wouldn't imagine, to go green through lap 125. So they're just trying to get out there, get a caution flag, maintain the track position. Looks like the light's still on at this time by, so we sit with 12 laps to go now. Still the chance to get a caution and one more restart, but Jason Robarge, I don't think he's changing his strategy, Sean. I don't want to say it's a cynical thing by the 79, but what happened when everybody went right away and your race leader took off and the pace car hit pit road? We were spread out. What happens when Jason Robarge holds them back? They're clustered together, and that means that, well, there might be an accident, and that means that the 79 stays in front. So not that it's a cynical thing, but it's a smart move if that's indeed the story behind it, if at all.
You know what? Do you hear any motors revving out there on track? Well, I'll tell you, I think maybe there might be a few guys out here burning off a little bit of fuel, lightening the load here a little bit for this stretch run to the finish.
Lighter car, a little bit better speeds. It does affect the handling on those machines, but they're expecting this one, to be a couple of dashes off of the green flag, and to see what they can get with that. Lights on top of the pace car and around the virtual Phoenix International Raceway have been extinguished. With that, there's 10 laps to go at Phoenix International Raceway, so 10 laps and 10 miles, as the restart will come with lap 116 to the works. Lap 125, the ultimate objective. It is still Robarge, Wright, Krahula, Ryan, and Galvin. Top 5. Joe Hassert picks up 3 spots on that last run to P6.
Well, Tommy Ryan, the unacceptable Cam, tonight's host on that camera, having a really solid run, man, all the way up from 21st to 4th. I can't talk about him enough. I like I said, I left him for dead, man, and he's now in this conversation for a win. So what a great run tonight. This has been a really good race. I mean, yeah, we got a couple of cautions here and there, but then we're getting ready to wind this thing back up. 10 laps to go. And, brother, this is going to be a heck of a finish.
He holds them back again. Green flag flies. 10 to go in the unacceptable 125. It's all Jason Robarge to turn number 1. The 17 drivers left on the lead lap do battle out of turn 2.
Galvin trying to take advantage here. Tommy Ryan gets it to the inside. Ryan still holding the wheel in front. But Galvin looking a little bit too strong down there below. A little bit of wiggle out of the car. Ryan holding on right there on him, man. They get in there. Big Joe Hassert coming up on Tommy Ryan. He wants to get to the front. He got up to, he restarted at 6. He's looking at take away 5th from Tommy Ryan right now.
Caution flag flies. Problems in turn number 4.
Krista Nelson
Hard
in the
into
wall.
the outside wall. Krista Nelson. Caution flag is back out. And Krista Nelson, the number 25, Sean, the leaders, quickly approaching. 3 laps down, goes to the apron in an attempt, I would imagine, to get out of the way, because you know those leaders are going to swing high, and by getting to the apron to get out of the way, spins it around, and she spins maybe 1-2 seconds before those leaders come flying by. So, I mean, that was a close call. She keeps it up against the fence and locks her down, keeps the foot on the brake so the car doesn't slide down. Caution flag back out, and now we can guarantee one final restart.
Man, this is falling right into Jason Robarge's hands, man. I mean, this is really advantageous for him right now. You know, again, the last couple restarts, I think, have been genius by him. I love it. There's nothing wrong with running the pace speed until that
Now, if you're him,
green flag
you
drops, man.
You mix it up now because,
Ooh.
I mean, we know the strategy works.
Ooh, it'd be a good time to pull that card out, man.
Yeah, Jake Wright in second. If he's going for the win, there's two things. If Jake Wright likes the points, he's not going to do anything stupid. I don't know if that's the right word, but he won't do anything stupid. If he wants to win, what do? You try to guess when Jason Robards goes. So, although it's been working, I'd almost be tempted, if I'm the 79, to go right away and throw them all off.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's Robards' style. I don't know. I just never seen him be, I don't know, that aggressive, or I don't know, aggressive maybe isn't even the word, but that ambitious maybe is the word. And right now, it's just in a great position to win this race right now. This restart is going to be everything. It will be the last restart of the race, Evan. And Robards was just such a great shot to win this thing. I don't know, man. I do like the idea of jumping it.
And it is still the same four behind him, right? Krahula, Galvin, and Ryan. Let's take a look at the top runners at the moment through P16. Jason Robards is your race leader. It's Jake Wright in second, James Krahula third, fourth Galvin, P5, Tommy Run. Behind there, P6 is Joe Hassert, Pierre Deigel in seventh, eighth is Ricky Harden, ninth position Michael Gray, and 10th Drew Watson. And through 16th, Sean, we have Tony Shallon, Alfred E. Shepard, Vincent Blumenthal, Robert Bluen, Dylan Lee, and Chris Stouffer. Only 6 of those names started top 10, so a lot of guys, great runs tonight, improving through the course of so far what's been 120 laps.
Yeah, Dan Guerin started second place. He's 3 laps down to 19th. We saw the trouble he had. So yeah, lots of guys making a name for themselves tonight, getting some airtime here up towards the front of the field. And again, man, Robards is just sitting just in such a good spot right now. I'm pulling for the guy now. Like you said earlier, man, a win tonight by him and that car and that paint scheme, maybe a good omen. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, the lights have gone out on top of the pace car, and this restart will come with 4 laps to go. And as our director says, elbow pads on, elbows up, and get at it. So Jason Robards is going to be the control car on this. Does he change the strategy? What does he do at the front of the field? What does Jake Wright do? P1 in the championship. What does James Krahula do right behind him? P2 in the championship. There is a lot on the line at Phoenix. They're 4 miles from a checkered flag. Do we go green all the way, or is there a little bit more carnage? The pace car going to make that sharp left-hand turn, get down, get out of the way, get to safety. Robards, it is his field as they pace in turns 3 and 4. He continues to hold them back. He's sticking with his A-game. Back and away we go. A little bit quicker. He's got a good gap of 5 car lengths.
He does have a good gap, and he did jump it. You know, he started out the same, and then he jumped it. That was not bad. Not bad. Jake, really a little bit slow to that. He is trying to get to it, but time is running out, Evan.
I think he satisfied both of us, because I said he was going to go early. You said he wasn't. He got it right in between. That might have been a perfect combination. 3 laps to go. Here comes Jake Wright, though, with a head of steam. Krahula on the bumper. Wright's going to get to him. What kind of move does he make, and how drastic does he go for? Top side for the 79 machine.
Oh, this is going to be great. Gonna be great. Here he comes.
They're going to bunch him up at a turn 4 to the inside. He leaves the bottom open. Jake Wright to the inside in turns 1 and 2. Robards going to fight back down the back straightaway for the race lead. They go side by side to turn number 3. Coming to the white flag, and Robards not giving up top side. They're still neck and neck.
Side by side. Oh, and Krahula to the inside.
To the inside goes James Krahula. Robards clears him.
Oh, Jason Robards he's going.
It looked like he lost it. Lap traffic, look at close call. He makes it through. Turn 4, final time. Here comes Jake Wright with the run. Top side, he got him. Jake Wright on the outside of the racetrack, put it in the bank. Checkered flag for the 27, and I can guarantee you that Jason Robards is furious. As the caution flag doesn't come out, we race it through, Sean. First off, he should have lost this race because there's no way you make that pass back on Jake Wright. He does it, though. Top side to the white flag. What a move by Krahula, who has to settle in 4th to get that spot, and then it's all Robar's. It is his race. And Kristen Nelson, running at about 30 miles an hour off pace in the middle of the corner, forces Jason Robards to hit the brakes, and he gets past. I'd be furious if I was him. Jake Wright not complaining. He's burning it down, but that is a terrible way for Jason Robards to have to swallow it.
I'm sorry, I can't be too critical. Inexcusable. That's a shame. Jason got robbed right there. It's a great win for Jake, and he's still leading the points and everything, but man, what a tough break for Robards right there, man. Really, really tough break. Galvin, nice run for him, comes home in 3rd. James Carula, hats off to him, coming all the way from 19th. And again to Big Joe Hassert. Tough race for him. He had a little bit of bad luck and still comes home in 5th. Great run for him tonight. What a race, man. That finish was exciting for sure.
Exciting, I think, the understatement of the season. I'll tell you this. That was the most exciting 4 laps of racing I have seen all season. But, as you said, you just can't let that happen. Nelson brought out a caution flag while running 3 laps down earlier to slow the leaders down. And then 4 laps down gets in the way of the race leaders. So 2 times a lap machine affects the end of the race. And unfortunately for Jason Robards, there's nothing you can do about it. And I give huge props also, Sean, to Robards, because it doesn't take more than 10 seconds to figure out what was going on there. He didn't lose the race, go to turn 1, and figure out what happened. As soon as that lap car was in the way, he knew what had happened. And Jason Robards could have put the dirtiest block in the world on Jake Wright, and I can't guarantee you that I wouldn't have done exactly that, Sean. But huge props to him for not wrecking the 27 and letting those guys race to the line. That is a great move by him. Good sportsmanship.
And it was a great race to the line. You saw how close it was. I mean, that's certainly a classy move by Jason. Listen, Jason's been that way all season. He's a great driver. Doesn't always have the best luck, but man, luck was with him tonight, and then it was just taken from him, snatched from the jaws of victory. Just snatched away from him there at the end. What a shame. Great win for Jake. Added to the resume for this season. On his way to winning this championship. Still 4 races left. Anything can happen. For Hula having another great run tonight certainly doesn't hurt his chances in this hunt. Again, anything can happen.
It's his 2nd win on the season. It'll be his 8th top 5 and 11th top 10, and grows the championship lead. Jake Wright, your winner from Phoenix. I can't guarantee you what the emotions will be like on the pit lane, but I can promise you'll want to find out. We'll talk to the top finishers, reset, and get set for Charlotte in 1 week's time for round number 15 on the season. It's the Global Sim Racing Channel post-race show from Phoenix. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned. We welcome you back into the virtual Global Sim Racing Channel broadcast tower. Post-race from the Phoenix International Raceway, Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose along with you. I'm Jid Yamid in the production trailer, acting director on the evening. Sean, we're going to take a look at our final standings, and I mean, we still kind of stand here in a daze. A unpredictable, somewhat upsetting, it pulls at your heart a bunch of different ways, and a lot of people feel very strongly about a whole lot of things, but that was crazy. At the end, regardless of what ended it, we saw 3 wide for the race lead at the white flag. That's why this series is what it is. We take a look at the Global Sim Racing Channel race results from the unacceptable 125. Jake Wright, the winner tonight, his second win on the year. Jason Robarge, Highway Robbery, comes home in second tonight. It's Jason Galvin third, James Krahula fourth, and Joe Hassert in P5. P6 for Tommy Ryan, Pierre Deigel seventh, eighth for Michael Gray, Ricky Harden in ninth, and Drew Motz P10.
And in 11th place, that would be Tony Showen. 12th, Vincent Blumenthal. Robert Bluen in 13th tonight. He comes home 13th after starting 25th. Good run for Robert Bluen tonight. Dylan Lee, 14th. Alfred Shepard, 15th. Last car on the lead lap is going to be Chris Stouffer, 16th tonight. Mark Nobert, 17th. Dan Guerin, 18th. Kristen Nelson, 19th. Chris Lanini rounds out the top 20, Evan.
And 21st tonight, all of these drivers behind the wall and out of the race. 21st to Tony Lurcock. Brandon Lincoln had a great run going top 3 for 22nd. 23rd for Corey Connor. Ryan Bird in 24th. And 25th for Joe Prance. Jack Bogan 26th. 27th to George Anzaldo. And Pete Edwins comes home P28. And rounds out your field of 28 cars. With that, passing things back down to you, Sean, caught up on the radio with our 4th place finisher tonight, second in the points, and he has a good points night tonight. Top 5 finish for your 4th place finisher, James Krahula.
We get James on down here, drop it into the pits real quick to talk to him. He finishes 4th tonight, started 19th. What a run, James. Not bad, buddy.
Was that race unacceptable enough for everyone else? That
Boy, the finish certainly was, bud.
Whew, that was a crazy race, but it sure was a heck of a lot of fun though, and yeah, I think we were 3 wide going to the flag there, and I was hoping that those guys would chicken out, and they didn't towards the end, and then that fun little mess happened in 3 and 4, and Galvin was able to get around me there at the end. Glad that we didn't wreck from that. But overall, it was just kind of a crazy race. But I think that it was pretty darn entertaining, at least.
Seems like the top 5 could have finished in any one of those positions because Big Joe was right there on you too at the finish. Nice little second half of the race. You and your teammates enjoyed a lot of time together there on the track. What does it mean to be a member of that team? How does it make you feel when you know you got your boys out there on the track with you?
Well, we needed to wake Tommy up in the first part of that race from championship celebration mode.
Yeah, we did talk about that on the broadcast.
So Tommy finally he got back up there, and luckily the yellows fell in our way again. And once we're up there, we were able to hold on. But man, we got to work on our qualifying now. But this team is an absolute blast. I mean, racing, hanging out. We're all going to Daytona next year. Which is going to be an absolute blast. I know that we're trying to get you down there also to join us, Sean. So we're just all about having fun. We're all about good, solid racing. There's so many exciting things going on right now with our team and everything, and we're just really excited to just have a good group of guys bring home a championship earlier today here live on the Global Sim Racing Channel, and then come home and get to talk to you guys after the unacceptable 125.
All right. Well, they just posted the standings. You fell to 129 points back. You still got a shot at this thing. What do you think?
I mean, unless Jake gets his computer smashed in the next couple of weeks, which, if I'm able to find his address and a sledgehammer, that might be a realistic thing. But aside from that, he's definitely making it difficult on us for sure. Especially when he lucks into a win right there. Well, I wouldn't say lucked into it. He definitely had it fall his way there at the end, and he definitely got himself put in the right position for sure, which he's done all year long. So, fantastic win by him. Feel horrible for Jason Robar. He had that one in the bag. But overall, so much fun running with these guys, and it's a lot of fun for sure.
Well, man, talk to me after the race. I know a guy might be able to help you with that sledgehammer computer thing. Anyway, listen, great run. We head into Charlotte next week. What do you think about are you gonna be able to make it? Really tough night, the Wednesday right before Thanksgiving. We'll be running next week at Charlotte under the lights. You plan to be there, and if so, do you think you got enough in you to get a win there?
I think that we've run really good at the 1.5 mile tracks all year long. Charlotte's just like my hometown track of Texas. I have not raced there in an IndyCar at all. That has been pretty much the case for me all season long. First full-time anything in IndyCars for sure. So we'll see how it goes. But luckily, I have family here in town, so I get to come race on Wednesday night, and I get to sleep in a little bit the next morning and go have a turkey coma.
Nice, very nice. All right, we'll see you next week in Charlotte. We got to go catch up with Jason Galvin right now and talk to him about his finish. He is up on the podium, but listen, hey, great run for you. We'll see you next week. Jason Galvin, we're going to bring you in real quick here and talk to you. We've caught up here at the podium celebration. Jason Galvin kind of wrapping things up right now. They're packing everything up. Jason, that was quite a run, man. What a crazy, crazy finish.
Oh, Sean, I don't even know. First off, I got to say, I'm sure we all have our opinions on what happened at the end. I feel bad for my teammate, Jason Robarge. He had that race in the bag, and I'm more mad and frustrated for him, I think. Our no chance cars were so good tonight, Jason and I's, and our teammates George and Jack and Pete helped us throughout the night. Really, they all had issues, and they were there the whole time helping us out. And Jason had that race in the bag. And then what I was honestly frustrated about is I'm thrilled to have third. Been really mad I hadn't had a top 5 on an oval all year. I'm an oval guy. I hate road courses. My only top 5 was a road course. And so I was thinking to myself, this is going to be a good night for me. And I thought I was going to get James on my own, and I'll never know now. I thought I had a chance to get James. I was on the outside of him, and I'll never know. But just really happy for my team, the KGET Channel 17 car. I got to thank them for sponsoring us here this year. Next Star Broadcasting, NBC, the 17 car, the 12 car rather, was great all night. And this is like my home track. I was the announcer at Phoenix for 4 years before I got into television. So it was exciting for me. It was the race I circled on the calendar. I won the practice race last night. And then to come back from the issues I had early in the night and to finish third, just really proud of the way that the whole team came together.
Yeah, that's a really great result for you tonight. Great race. You certainly had to work at it. You had a little bit of trouble there early on and had to work at it, man. And everybody's going to have an opinion about the finish. Jason, tough break for him, man. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to get him on, unfortunately, but certainly love to talk to him. But maybe probably not a good time to stick a mic in his face. You're in TV. You get it. So for sure. We head to Charlotte. What do you think about your chances there next week? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. So here's the thing about Charlotte, right? I hate Charlotte. There's no way around it. I just don't like the place. Me and Charlotte aren't friends. Doesn't matter what the car is. But the funny thing about that is when iRacing first came out, I ran in a league that's now defunct, but it was a bunch of great truck guys, fixed league. And our first ever race was Charlotte. And I thought to myself, man, if I finish like 15th, I'm going to be happy. And I led the most laps and won the race. So I'm not saying that's going to happen again next week, far from it, but I'm trying to keep an open mind. I'm really looking forward to Road Atlanta and to Auto Club down there at the end of the season. I'm a Southern California boy. I love that track. And I totally messed up Michigan on a strategy standpoint, so I'd like to have another crack at it. But Charlotte will be fun. I'm thankful to be in the league. I'm thankful for George and what he does. Not only as a teammate, but George and Tony and Jesse running this league. I don't care what anybody says. I don't think there's a better league on iRacing right now. We have a great group of guys. The core group of guys that run here in LionHeart are incredible, and I think you saw that tonight. Even with all the accidents that we had, there was some awesome racing at the end on those restarts up front between the unacceptable guys and Jake and Joe and Dan and myself, and it was a lot of fun. And this is a fun league, so I'm just going to go into Charlotte next week with kind of an open mind, and we'll see what happens. We'll have fun. That's all we're doing. I'm not in the points. I'm 4 points behind George. We're battling it out for first place in the second half of the top 20. I don't get a trophy for that, but it's cool. We're having fun, and that's what's important.
Yeah, well, I can hear it in your voice, man. I'm certainly having fun talking to you. Keep an open mind and an open heart about Charlotte, okay?
Yeah,
Charlotte,
I will.
All right, Charlotte, a fun place. Certainly torn it up there a few times, and we'll have a good time next week as we run on Turkey Eve, as some would say. So
I announced Turkey Night for 9 years, so maybe that's a good omen too. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, all right.
Hey, thanks to you guys, by the way. Being in the business, I know how tough this can be, and people may not get it because it's a sim and computer and whatnot, but you and Evan and everybody on your crew do one hell of a job every week.
Well, Jason, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And certainly travel safe. We'll see you in Charlotte next week, sir. Thanks again for putting on a good show tonight, bud.
No problem. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, Evan. I'm going to throw it to you. I think you have caught up with Jake Wright. He is ready, I think, for an interview here at this point. He's probably itching to just talk about that run.
It's his second checkered flag on the season, and I think it goes without saying, Sean, by the way, talked to James Krahula in fourth. We've talked with Jason Galvin in third. Jason Robar's not available for comment. So we go down to the virtual Gatorade victory lane. Checkered flag, Jake Wright, your winner in the unacceptable 125. Jake, a lot happened in this race to put you in that position, but what happened on those final 2 laps?
Well, on those final 2 laps, I was just trying to keep my second place. I wanted the points. I wanted to finish after being taken out last week. But there in turn 4, he got kind of caught up by a lapped car, and I had the opportunity to go to his outside and take the win. So it sucks for him that he didn't get the win, but, I'm happy to be back in victory lane. Just I wish it could have been under different circumstances.
To talk us through this one, you qualify on pole position in the number 27 machine, drop back to about P6, green flag pit stops, you stay out. Next thing you know, you're the race leader.
Yeah, I got lucky with the yellow. I was planning on pitting a few laps early, but the caution had come out, putting everybody who had already pit to the back. So, everything just kind of worked out for me this race. And again, I should have had second place, but I'm not sure. But I might have led the most laps, so that's a nice thing. But I've been the only one to be able to run times like that, so the pole, it was nice to have, but still I shouldn't have been up there in first place.
I'll tell you what, you add to the statistics, second win, it's your third pole, 8 top 5s, now 11 top 10s through 14 races. Pretty good, I would say, and you extend that points gap, by the way, outside of tonight to now 129 points over James Krahula, second on back. James said that the only way he's going to catch you is if he does something to the likes of disassembling your computer and your simulator setup, because you've got such a good handle on this. 4 races to go, and you look at him. It's not over though, so we go to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Personally, a track that I'm not a big fan of in these Indy cars. It's going to be a chaotic race, I believe. What's the mentality going into there? And do you now kind of switch to a conservation mode? I know you were talking about just trying to keep that P2 finish. Are you just trying to keep the car out of the fence and keep her on track for good finishes the rest of this? Or are you still trying to add to that wins tally?
No, I'm just trying to finish now, and I think Charlotte's going to be much like Kansas, where we're going to have some pack racing. It's going to be really close and grippy, so just trying to survive Charlotte would be, it would be nice.
It'll be the strategy move into the final 4 races, Jake. An exciting race tonight, and you find yourself at the right spot at the right time. And you have been so good all season, so sometimes it doesn't hurt to be lucky. Also, you get the job done tonight at Phoenix. Any sponsors or shout-outs you want to give a call to down here from Victory Lane?
Yeah, I want to go ahead and thank my teammates over at No Name Racing, SurveySystem.com, and Overdrive Graphics. And I want to go ahead and give my condolences to the families of the lost over in Paris.
And we did notice as well that sticker on your car, Jake. So again, thanks for sticking around and chatting. I wish you the best of luck as well going forward into these final 4 races. And hopefully for your sake, you can lock up that championship. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks.
So Sean, Jake Wright, your winner tonight from the Phoenix International Raceway. And he keeps saying that he didn't deserve it. And, you know, he's been so good all season. I think he deserves a little bit of luck now and then. But I still can't quite comprehend what happened there at the end. Jake Wright wins by 3/100ths of a second.
Well, you know what? I'm tired of talking about it, to be honest with you. I'm going to go ahead and congratulate Jake. I thought his interview was great. I thought he's an extremely humble young man. I think one of the things that we've seen from him time after time, incredibly clean racer. Tell you what, really, just another example of the quality of the depth of field here in the LionHeart Racing Series. Jake done it all year, done it since he showed up here last year, a year ago. 1 year broadcasting here on Global Sim Racing Channel with the LionHeart Racing Series last week, and 1 year and 1 week later, Jake Wright still showing what kind of a class act he is. Again, tough break for Jason, but you know what? Those guys will come back. That was a really, really good run for No Chance Racing tonight. Really happy to see those guys get towards the front. Tough break for a couple of them, but they'll be back. They'll be back next week. Another good, valiant effort by James Carula. He's just going to have to win one of these things and hope Jake gets taken out if he's got any chance. It's mathematically, it's still possible, man. It could happen, but we got to get to Charlotte first. And that'll be next week as we get ready to put a little pretty bow on this, Evan.
And Grahula begins to see the light at the end of the tunnel in his hopes to catch Jake Wright. Jake Wright, your championship leader with 4 races to go. He's 129 points in front of James Grahula. James Grahula sits 61 points ahead of Joe Hassert in the points. It is then close with Pierre Daigle, just 2 points back and forth. And P5 added tonight, Ricky Harden, just 14 back from those 2 in front of him. But to put it in perspective, he's over 200 points away from Jake Wright. So one of the more interesting races on the season is in the books. We go forward into the final 5th of the season as we go to the final 4 races on the year. And I can guarantee you that as we go forward into these, it's going to be quite the exciting couple of showdowns. Although the top spot in the points may not be that tight, there's a lot of points. Sean, you mentioned getting top 20 in points even for some of our drivers to try to be locked into season 4, at least through the first couple of races. A lot on the line, and we have yet to dish out 4 checkered flags. That's some pretty good incentive. Until Charlotte, though, that does it here tonight at the Phoenix International Raceway. Do want to give our thanks to iRacing.com, XSplit, the Audio-Technica Corporation, and AverMedia USA, all of the equipment and such on the technical aspects of the broadcast for allowing us to do what we do. A big thanks to the LionHeart administration team, George Anzaldo, Jesse Vincent, and Tony Lurcock. And a big thanks to Dougie Beard for providing us with the camera sets tonight, and to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde for the music. You can find out more information and stay up to date with the Global Sim Racing Channel online at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, Twitter at GSR Channel, our Facebook as well is facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. You'll take a look at some of the upcoming races on the screen here that you can find on the Global Sim Racing Channel over the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, Sean. Charlotte, though, under the lights for round 15.
Man, Charlotte, North Carolina, it's going to be hot, baby. Next week, November 25th. Thanksgiving Eve, 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, under the lights, 133 laps, around 1.5 miles, 200-mile race in the Kart Retro Series 200. Gonna be a good one, Evan. Can't wait to see you there, buddy. Have a great week.
We wish the same to everybody as well for tuning in, and we thank you for joining us on tonight's Wednesday night doubleheader of sim racing action on GSRC through the AMSOIL Truck Series for the American Sim Racing Series and for the LionHeart IndyCar Series. That does it for tonight's coverage. On behalf of the entire GSRC team, for myself, Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose, and Amjad Yavad, we thank you once again for tuning in and congratulate Jake Wright. Points leader still by a lot more than it was before, and your winner tonight at Phoenix. We bid you farewell from Avondale, Arizona. We'll see you in NASCAR's backyard for some open wheel action next Wednesday night. We'll see you in Charlotte. Good night.